Number 5, and to me probably the most important, which is why I saved it for last, is to have a better plan for purchasing merchandise. Now look, your inventory is the thing you spend the most on in your store. It's more than you spend on technology. It's more you spend on salaries. It's more you spend on rent. It's more you spend on anything. It's the single greatest cost to you, okay? And therefore, it's why you have a technology solution. It's why you went to One Step Retail Solutions, to help you with tools that help you manage that inventory, okay? Because it's your greatest investment. And so you want to watch it. You want to watch the timing of how those goods come into the store. And you want to make sure that you've got an amount, just enough to satisfy demand profitably, which means that you don't overbuy and tie up dollars unnecessarily, or underbuy and miss sales, okay? Now, small changes here can have a huge impact on your cash flow and on your revenue and on your profitability, because it's your biggest cost, right? So look at this store. This store, again, averages around $751. That's their revenue, so we didn't look to change that, okay? But we said if we could take their purchases from 55% of their sales to 53% of their sales, okay, what happens is instead of spending $413,000, they spend $398,000, which means the money they have available for expenses goes from $338 to $353, okay, or they pick up $15,000, okay? It's 3.6%. So look at your own profit and loss statement for last year. And then look at it and say, what if I had purchased 2% less than what's on here right now? That's cash that will fall straight to the bottom line, straight to your bank account, and straight into your pocket. Okay? I can't emphasize that enough. Better purchasing plans that enable you to peak the inventory at the height of a season and bring it to its lowest point or drop it at the end of the season are everything to a retail store, and it's the difference between a profitable retailer and a wealthy retailer, okay? But you can't just do it by going, okay, I'm going to cut everything by 2%. You'll find that as you look at your business carefully, there are certain classes of merchandise that are growing and need to be fed. There are also classes that are declining, okay, and need to be fixed or maybe maintained or maybe even dropped, okay? You may find there are certain things that, you know what, I just can't sell this stuff anymore, right? A common one for some stores is some stores used to sell a lot of like music CDs, okay? Well, now with the advent of downloadable music, no one can sell CDs anymore, right? That's one that just needs to be dropped, needs to go away, you know, unless it's some kind of specialty item that they can't get anywhere else. That's a place where it just has to be gone, you know? I have other gift shops that used to do a big business in photo albums, okay? Well, it's not often that you print a picture anymore, is it? As such, a photo album is not a particularly great thing. That said, you know, those are classes where we got to get our dollars out of that and into something else that's growing, okay? So you can't do a sweeping cut across all classifications, okay? You'll destroy the business that way. You've got to basically determine where you're going to cut and how you're going to cut, okay? And you want to make sure that you're continuing a fresh flow of merchandise into the key classes on a month-by-month basis. You don't want to make knee-jerk reactions here. It's too vital to the growth of your business, okay? So how does it happen? It starts with really good sales forecasting, okay? Now, good sales forecasting, by the way, is not last year plus 3%. Good sales forecasting looks at your store by class of merchandise, by location if you're multiple stores, and by month, okay? And it's not just what you think, it's also where's the industry trending, okay? So it's trends inside and outside of your store. Very important, okay? You've got to be able to locate, you've got to be able to determine your sales forecast by class, by month, by location, and include all those other outside factors. And when we do those kinds of plans for people, by the way, that's what we do. We have a big database of stores across many countries around the planet, and it enables us to see trends early on and help people get more effective sales forecasting, okay? At the same time, you've done a sales forecast, now you've got to have an inventory forecast that enables you to figure out when you want to peak the inventory and when you want to value it, right? How do you want to have, and you're going to use your stock to sales ratio to make that happen. When do I want to have my inventory at its height, at the very beginning of the season, and when do I want to drop it down to almost nothing, okay? And by planning that well, you reduce your markdowns. And if you reduce your markdowns and you get a better sell-through at full price, you make more money, okay? Now, let's talk about markdowns for a minute. What causes higher than normal markdowns, okay? Well, there's a bunch of reasons here, and you should look at when you take markdowns which one of these categories it falls into. You know, they kind of fall into two groups, right? There are selling markdowns that happen because you know, you landed goods and your salespeople don't like them, or don't understand why they're there, or don't agree that they should be there, or maybe there's things that happen on the floor that they haven't come back to you and told you, like you have a fit issue. I just this week was talking to a customer who told me that they couldn't sell some bracelets because they're way too small, and every customer feels they're too tight. We got to go back to the vendor and tell them about that, right, and see what we can do about that. But some of it's based on the salespeople don't have enough product knowledge. They don't have enough information to sell the product, or they don't understand why it's there. That said, there's also plenty that happen on the buying side, right? You landed too much inventory, you landed it too early, you landed it too late, you don't have a good department class, subclass structure, you didn't have a good forecast, you didn't measure it, you don't have a good assortment plan, too many vendors, not enough vendors. You know, there's a lot of things that can cause that to go off the rails, but the main thing is you got to look at it from, is it a selling one or is it a buying one? And then, why did it happen and how are you going to avoid that going forward? And do you actually have a strategy for your markdowns? Or do you take them just when you think you're supposed to? It really is a good idea to look at your markdowns after the goods have been on the floor 4 to 6 weeks and see what's working and not working, because I'd rather you get out of those goods early, get as much cash out of as you can out of them, and rebuy things that are working than leave them on your floor for month after month after month after month, because it ties up cash unnecessarily, okay? And by the way, probably the most important sentence on this slide is the bottom one that's in red, which is that every time you sell an extra item, you avoid a future markdown, okay? Every time you sell an extra item to a customer, you avoid a future markdown. So if you get your selling staff to think that way, you'll reduce your markdowns just by coaching them to do that one thing. Okay, so just some little bragging by us. Okay, last year our average client saw an 18% increase in sales. This year, through I'm recording this for you now at the end of May 2016. The trend so far has been up 8%. It's been a little bit tougher in the first half of this year. Inventory forecasting. Last year our average client saw an 11% decrease in inventory. This year the trend is 12%. So we're decreasing our inventories more. But here's the story. If I can get you to increase your sales a little bit and lower your inventory a little bit, we make you more money. You make money by selling more with faster turns. Okay, so I find most retailers who are not on a planning program don't understand open to buy. They end up being overstocked. Most retailers that want to plan their inventories by vendor and not by class end up being overstocked. Why? Because a woman wakes up in the morning and she says, I need more dresses. I like this particular brand, not I like this particular brand and let me see what they have. Okay, so planning is done on the class level, not on the brand level. Okay, so let's recap this. You're going to use the vendor scorecard that we're going to give you to download to partner with your vendors and to figure out what's working and not working, and to maybe get some leverage there. Maybe get some markdown money, maybe get some goods traded out, and make them look at what's happening in your store to see how they can make you be more profitable. Okay? You're going to measure and improve your selling cost. Okay? You're going to try to get that one down a little bit. You're going to implement a better commission plan based on the salespeople achieving some selling goals before they earn their commissions. Okay? More and better email marketing. I'm a big fan of that. Okay? And then open to buy planning, which is the centerpiece of what we do, drives cash flow better. Okay? And it's the better way to drive sales and better way to drive profitability than anything else you can do. Okay? Those are those 5 things, and certainly go back to this presentation and review your strategy for each of these things. Now, you may find as you go through, you know what, I already have a great selling cost, I'm not changing that. I already love my commission plan, I'm not changing that. Okay, so maybe you don't do number 2 or number 3, but you certainly could do maybe number 4, maybe you could do number 5, maybe number 1. I mean, you know, there's other things you can do here, and you want to do it strategically, and you want to do it in a way that you can digest it and think about it.